App State, Sunbelt favorite, it's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus. Daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, last show in Lafayette for a minute, traveling to Central New York. So we'll be doing it maybe from Mama Schultz's deck, depending on the weather. We'll be in Central New York for a couple of weeks, but we'll keep on doing shows. We'll see if we do them, in the bedroom or outside, which would be pretty neat. Doing it a little bit early today on a Sunday because I'm traveling and I'm not going to get home until, I don't know, allegedly 1 a.m. So we'll see. Anyways, we'll get to the Cajun softball mass exodus, which you could kind of see coming once the Jerry Glasco news came about. But let's start off with App State. And they are the Sunbelt favorite. And should they be? They're returning Joey Aguilar. Let's see the offensive. Let me get that straight. Let me see. No, he was the newcomer of the year. Okay. Newcomer of the year. Didn't win the job. We've been over that. Didn't win the job out of camp. And about 6 plays in, throws a 40-yard touchdown pass. And App State is off and running. They were the betting favorite, still are the betting favorite on FanDuel and on FanDuel. Interestingly, because their win total is less, that could be because of Clemson and East Carolina. I'm not convinced that Clemson's going to win that football game. We'll see. That it's not week 1 or anything like that, but that will be an interesting game. App State's not going to go into Clemson scared, I don't think, or intimidated type of deal. I think there's a lot more pressure on Clemson this year than there is on App State, but that's a different story. All right, so App State again comes in as the betting favorite. Interestingly enough, because again, Texas State and the Cajuns are on the other side. Texas State separated themselves a little bit, but it's been Texas State, the Cajuns, and JMU that have win totals of 8.5. At least they did when they were set. And App State had a 7.5. I happen to think, and again, this is about, for me, quarterback and coach. And when you bring in these days, when you're bringing those guys back, although I could make a wisecrack about Hugh Freeze and Peyton Thorne, but when you're bringing those two guys back, the quarterback and the coach, and they're in the same role. For example, we talked about this. Gio Lopez at South Alabama was there. Major Applewhite was there, but now one's a starting quarterback and one's the head coach. But in this case, Joey Aguilar is the quarterback, and Shawn Clark is the head coach. And you have a lot of, change in that Western Division, right? We had change in the East, and now, or change in the West, and now I can't get my direction straight. And you have change in the East. Obviously, Kurt Cignetti with James Madison gone, Jordan McLeod going from the Eastern Division to the West. You don't have change with Coastal Carolina. All right, you got Tim Beck and Ethan Vascow. You should have Grant Wilson and ODU with Ricky Ronnie. All right, so that's the same. Georgia State, new coach, new quarterback. Georgia Southern, same coach, different quarterback, whoever that may be. And it'll be interesting to see how Georgia Southern does this. This will be one of maybe the times that they don't have a guy who they're going with. They need to cut down on those interceptions, as we've discussed with Clay Helton. But also, for what it's worth, Georgia Southern has 3 guys on the preseason all defensive squad. So maybe Georgia Southern isn't trying to outscore everybody as they have. And, it's a lot easier when you can win, 28-17 or 24-13 than it is, well, we got to score 35 points because we turn it over and our defense isn't quite as good. And then you have Marshall, with you got a bunch of guys to replace there. So Coastal and Old Dominion, no change. James Madison, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Marshall, all change. If Pennington isn't starting for Marshall, and I guess reports are that he will not. So that's why I don't think it's an issue for App State to be the favorite. Certainly not in that division. Now, interestingly enough, right, JMU is still 8.5, or they were when it came out, 8.5 win totals. Okay. And a lot of people left there. We're going to talk about the Cajuns. They had a mass exodus, a lot of them to Indiana following Kurt Signetti. Questions arise why Jordan didn't go there, but whatever. Because I'm a big fan of Bob Chesney. I am. Okay. For those who don't know, right, I'm a Syracuse fan. He was almost getting this. He almost got the Syracuse job. All right. And oddly enough, in this whole thing, the Boston College job came open, right? Like right after he didn't get the Syracuse job. Fran Brown got that. And so far, recruiting-wise, doing a fantastic job. Then Bob Chesney got the JMU job. Then the Boston College job came open, and Chesney had to come out with a comment, I am staying where I am, right? Because I think, again, he just has a ton of head coaching experience compared to, everybody else, right? Tim Beck, longtime assistant coach, did pretty well last year for Coastal, but no head coaching experience, right? Del McGee, I don't think has any head coaching experience anywhere. Jared Parker, no head coaching experience coming into this. Major Applewhite does have head coaching experience, all right? Brian Vincent, I don't think any head coaching experience. Bob Chesney has over a decade of head coaching experience. So in this case, he knows, and I heard this, we can even refer to it with JJ Redick, and I've heard people talk about what you do during the season happens now. Bob Chesney's been there. He knows how he's going to react. He's got to teach his new staff members how that's going to be on, when we're going to punt it, when we're going to go for it, when we do this, when this situation arises, what we're going to do. He's had that. Some of these other coaches haven't. All right. They may be planning on it now, but they've never been in that situation before. So we'll see how they react. They don't know how their kids are going to react. Bob Chesney does. So I don't think the bottom's going to fall out of JMU, but it is lofty goals for them to be 8.5 win total. Can we check that? Let's see. Got a little bit of time here. Let's see if we can check. And I have to see if I can log in. I don't know if I can log in. My FanDuel account. Explore. Let's see here. JMU. Well, let's just do JMU. Let's see what comes up there. It's still 8.5 wins. Under, though, is favored -164. Over is +134. Now, that may be that to me, that indicates they got the number right. All right. For that. But we'll go over, App State's schedule coming back. Again, they got to replace the running back. They got Joey Aguilar. And then it comes to one of those things that I'm not a big fan of because everybody expects it, right? They expect to win at Georgia Southern because they did, at the lower levels. They expect to win at App State because they have in the past. They expect to win at JMU because they have in the past. They expect to win at Marshall because they have in the past. They're all in the same division. They can't all win, right? Tim Beck is trying to, build on what Jamie Chadwell did. You can't all win at the same time. You can't all win at the same time. So that's the problem. So how much pressure is on Shawn Clark? All right. How much pressure is on Shawn Clark? We will do that and go over the schedule for App State when we come back. Let me tell you about FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop, and they really never do. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sporting like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus. Daily, every day. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. So you can start doing the futures, right? There's always Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese to bet on, right? WNBA is going on. You got golf, baseball, plenty to carry us over to college and pro football. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Let's check out the App State schedule. And we can also talk about, in the meantime, the pressure on Shawn Clark, because looking up the Sunbelt champions, Sunbelt champion 2016, App State, Arkansas State. Sunbelt champion 2017, App State and Troy. 2018, App State. 2019, App State. Shawn Clark hired December of 19. Sunbelt champion 20, Coastal Carolina. Cajuns 21. Troy 22, 23. Now there's been 3 plus the 20 when there was no championship ball game. Thank you, Coastal Carolina. But App State has not won, and Shawn Clark has not won a championship since then. And I mean, I think it was the Coastal game, right? It was the Coastal game last year. And Coastal got on top. App State was coming back. Like, this game was out of control, and App State came back, and they were going to win the football game. They had a big play going down the sideline. They were going to win the football game. Fumble. And somehow that's Shawn Clark's fault. You know, poor guy. Right? Coastal Carolina makes a great play, fumble, gets the ball back, wins the game. And so things like that are sometimes not in their control. I mean, they almost beat Drake May, right? They were in the Sun Belt Championship ball game. I know it got away from them, but like a 4-point game in the fourth quarter, and then Troy scores to make it, double digits, and then there's a turnover, and then there's, another turnover, and then, Vidal just scores another touchdown and another touchdown, and that game got away from them. All right, App State schedule, because again, they have a shot here, and I could be overplaying their chances against Clemson. We probably got that line already, right? Football. All right. They do start off with ETSU at home, and Clemson is game number 2. I thought there was a little bit more room in there, but there isn't. So that's a big ball game. Let's see if we got that line. You may be able to get that line here already. I bet. Is it 10 points? Is it more than that? Let's see what the line is. All right, because you can get some lines. It's only week 1. Sometimes they put the lines out for week 2, but they don't have that yet. No. They do not have those yet. Sometimes they put the ones out for the bigger ball games. Explore. Okay. All right. Nonetheless, it doesn't have it. Okay. Oh, well. It doesn't have it there. So anyways, they're at Clemson. It's a Saturday night ball game. It's a big opportunity. Who's Clemson got week 1? I'm sure that's not as big a deal either, right? Oh, my mistake. Clemson is at Georgia to start the season. Goodness. Talk about ripe. That's got letdown game written all over it for Clemson. They are What an opportunity for App State. My mistake. They get Georgia, App State, NC State. That's a letdown and a trap game all in one. Whew. Great opportunity for App State. That's awesome. All right. Now, the problem is App State is looking at I don't know if East Carolina, I can't really imagine East Carolina being a letdown game or a trap game, but it's still, right, it's not Clemson. And then they host South Alabama, which is important for the Sun Belt. And so, I mean, just like we said, Texas State, gets past UTSA and Arizona State, right? And, they're looking at 4-5-0 down there. Can you imagine if App State is 3-0? Well, first of all, if they go 2-0, they will be ranked, right? Then they go to East Carolina. That game is on ESPNU. They host South. And then another big ball game, and they get them at home, is Liberty. Liberty is one of those G5 favorites this year. They have, I don't know who. It's like ranking number one players, right? I've seen Syracuse with the easiest schedule, which I could care less about, 12-0, baby. Or Liberty's got the easiest schedule in the country. But they're going to App State, and that is going to be huge. That's where, I look at this as an opportunity, not a brutally hard schedule. Some may look at it that way. You win at Clemson, you win at East Carolina, and you beat Liberty. You start out, if App State somehow starts out, is that 5-0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0? They're going to be a top 15 team, and they're going to get back on game day, and they're going to be, some of those games are going to be on TV. If Liberty and App State start out 4-0, and there's no off week, mini off week. The South Alabama App State game is on a Thursday, but that game's going to be on TV somewhere. That's family weekend, and it's a whiteout already. That's huge. All right. And so there's pressure on Shawn Clark to win and compete, but boy, if he can pull one of these, if he can pull off an early start, and there's a ton of pressure on Clemson, they could get walloped against Georgia. That could get ugly. And, do they take it out on App State? Do they bounce back? Because then you got NC State in conference game coming up the next week. Whew. That's a tough schedule for Clemson. App State's got an absolute shot at that ball game. All right. And then towards the end of the season, let's see, after Liberty, at Marshall and at the Cajuns, those are only tricky. Cajuns are going to be tough, but they're on the road. Those are going to be on the road. So those are not tough. You get Georgia State and Old Dominion at home. Then you're at Coastal, at James Madison, and at Georgia Southern. So the schedule is tough at the end of the season. You do get a break in between Coastal and James Madison, but 2 out of the 3 are huge ball games. You get James Madison, and then you get, the rivalry with Georgia Southern. So the end of the season is tough. And obviously, if they are a ranked team, got 1 loss or undefeated, then obviously they got a target on their back. So I think App State fans think there is pressure on Shawn Clark. I don't think so. I would praise that. There probably is, but there shouldn't be. How about that? Am I hedging my bets? Am I talking out both sides of my mouth? I'm really good at that. I'm a professional at that. There probably is in Boone, North Carolina, but I don't think there should be. I think he's done a really good job. And it's tough to compete in the Sun Belt. And everybody can't win who's always won before. Now, if he's not contending for a spot in the Sun Belt Championship, then that's going to be a problem. If injuries happen, well, that's a reason, not an excuse. But if they're just not winning, forget beating Clemson. They got to beat East Carolina if they lose to Clemson. Then they got to beat South. And all of a sudden, they're starting out 3-1, and they got Liberty. You beat Liberty, you're 4-1. You're still probably ranked. All right, let's take a timeout. That segment went on a little bit longer. I still think that App State is the favorite over there. I still have App State and Texas State playing for the championship. But it is, there's a lot of what if certainly going on in the Sun Belt. All right. Mass exodus with Ragin' Cajun softball. Could kind of see that coming. We will talk about that next after I tell you about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all of the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, available only to U.S. customers. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Did a little App State football. We'll continue with some of the kind of previews of the previews when we're at Mama Schultz's home coming up here for the next couple of weeks. But the big news the last few days, certainly here in Lafayette and around softball and Sunbelt softball, Jerry Glasco taking the Texas Tech job. I'm still really confused on that whole thing. I'm not even going to say what I'm hearing, but there's just, it doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason, especially when everybody was coming back. If you don't think you can compete with the NIL and the portal from G5 to Power 4, and that may be a thing, but it's not going to be a thing in the 25 season. I'm not even sure it's going to be a thing in the 26 season. Now, it may be a thing 27, 28, and the G5 is left in the dust. That very well may be the case, but it wasn't going to be for the 25 season. And I really am... I wish Jerry Glasco all the best, okay? Him and his wife did a great job here. Best of luck in Lubbock. I think you're going to need it, but best of luck. But what I don't want is to hear the players get blamed for the chaos. And I feel like a lot of the coaches are blaming the players when the chaos that is now Ragin' Cajun softball started with the domino effect of Jerry Glasco. That's where it started. So the mass exodus, which I had teed up here and I changed it, 5 players, at least as of Sunday morning, have decided to hit the transfer portal. I would not be surprised if most of these players ended up, let's see here, in Lubbock at Texas Tech. All right. Sunbelt, well, let's go in order. This is the way I saw it. Vic Valdez, the catcher, she was a trooper behind the plate. Just caught almost every inning of every game. And then Chloe Riasetto, the left-handed pitcher. Brooke Elstad got in there. The hurt first baseman, Lauren Elred, and a Sunbelt player of the year, Maya Davis. Now, I presume many, if not all, will end up at Texas Tech. I would also say I'm not sure that some may not be back. We'll see. Again, it's Sunday, and the things that I'm hearing is that this was not a surprise. May have caught us by surprise, but the people who knew, not a surprise. And so you would have thought they would have had the coach ready to go, but not the case. Either way, so those 5 have left. Others, such as Maddie Hayden, Kyler Falterman, Cece Vasquez, Gabby Stutz, Lainey Crater, posted, you stuck with us, we're sticking with you. So they're staying. I still think you may get some of those girls back, depending on who the coach is. But it is a mass exodus. We'll see if others join them. Also, my one piece of advice for the girls leaving, and if you are going to Texas Tech or you are trying to grab some dollars in NIL, get something signed. Just put it in paper and have someone besides your parents check out the piece of paper. All right. Go get some legal help and make sure you're going to get paid what they are telling you you're going to get paid. And I don't care how much it is. I don't care if it's 2,000, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. I don't care what the amount is. Make sure you're going to get paid what they're telling you you're going to get paid. All right. I have no problem with them going to get paid. Wish everybody the best of luck. This is not on the players. Again, here's the thing. I'm told that Jerry Glasco is not making any more money. Again, I'm still shocked at this whole thing. Like, this is not a rebuild. This is a build. Texas Tech has had like 3 winning seasons in the conference. Maybe easier now that there's no Texas and Oklahoma. Okay. I don't even think, why do we think people are going to go to Texas Tech? Because NIL and the portal. Why are people going to go there? Nobody ever has. Because of him. Now he's a great recruiter. All right, there's that. But I'm just not. I'm not buying it. We'll see when another story drops. Thank goodness I'm going home, so maybe I don't have to find out about it, or I can find out about it from afar. But something else, something is gonna. I think something's coming out. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't compute in my mind. Because again, 2025. Even if you think whatever's coming down the road is coming, you could have competed in 2025. All right. You could have gotten to the College World Series in 2025, in theory, with a little bit more help, to bring the same team back without more help in the circle and without another bat or two, that wouldn't have happened. Okay. I don't think, but he leaves and now the team is broken up. All right. And I know people are out there are like, well, it's not the first time that a really good coach has, I don't want to say left the Cajuns high and dry, but, moved on. But there wasn't NIL, the portal, and the schools are going to be paying the players here. That was not happening. So again, I don't know what's going to happen in 3 years. I was very confident, like this team was going to win 100 straight series. Probably would have gotten some national love. We don't talk about that series. What is it? 87, 88 series in a row. We'll see how long that lasts now. But I wouldn't be surprised, depending on who the coach is, right? Whoever that may be, bring some players with them as well. So it is a mass exodus that happened on Saturday. Don't blame the players at all. But it was bound to happen once Jerry decided to leave. It will be interesting. I know there is a Cajuns coach that once you get into the portal, you're not welcome back. Doesn't matter who it is. I know there's one Cajuns coach that you go in the portal, take care. We'll move on. There's others that test the waters and come back. So that may happen with some of the Cajuns who went into the portal. Just because you went in doesn't mean you can't come back. At least not yet. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate all the support. Again, oddly enough, subscribers continue to go up. So I really do appreciate it. We're almost at 1280. Let me see what we got here. I got to change switch the account. We're up over 1270 and we're 1274. So not quite on to 1280. But the idea is I got another week. Can we get 26 more in this week? Then we got to get about 25 a week in July and August. And we'll be doing a lot of football. Again, the Phil Steele magazine's coming out. So we'll buy the magazine and then see if we can get Phil on to do the show with us. He's always gracious with his time. He'll come on. Of course, everybody wants him, and we're fortunate enough to get him. All right, everybody have a great week. We will be hopefully humidity-free in central New York. My brothers don't like it, but it is Schultz-Palooza that first week in July. We get a little pre-gaming hanging out with Mama Schultz here for a week before the fam comes in. All right. Thanks again for watching. All the best, and we will be back again tomorrow.